In 2003, our worship pastor, Darlene Check, decided as it was time for a kids' praise and worship album. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
We heard down the line, and as we were creative, I'd studied music, Beci is singer, we were like, well, let's really take this seriously and write songs. Yeah. And on the album, there's a song called I'm Really Happy. And that was the first song, as I remember, that we wrote.
Yeah.
And I knew from that point, I'm like, oh, okay, we can do this.
At that time, superheroes was a huge thing for our kids. They loved heroes.
Yeah.
And so I think we were just trying to think of a way, how could we help kids praise and worship and sing songs to God in language that they would understand. And so we were like, hey, why don't we give this a go? And just brought in that hero theme, that Jesus, as much as you love all of these amazing superheroes that are in the movies and books and all of that, we wanted to just take the kids' focus that Jesus was the greatest superhero.
I don't know if it was originally planned to be live praise and worship. There's not a lot of other people have attempted it, to put 1,000 kids in a room and record that moment. But at some point, we decided we would record a live album, capture this live at our Hillsong conference in July.
And even for this album recording, we actually had a kids choir. And as we were asking parents if their kids could be involved in the choir, a lot of them were going like, oh, my kid, like they don't really sing whenever we're in big church together, they don't really get involved in the praise and worship. And we were like, when they are in Hillsong Kids on a Sunday, they are singing the songs with all their heart, they are singing them loud. I'm like, your kids are praise and worshipers. And it just opened up this whole world to even to our parents, into our church, that kids could praise and worship and that they could experience the things of God.
One of the surprises from that first album was that the DVD, this is an era when obviously DVDs were how you got hold of your media, and so the DVD went gold in Australia. So it was big enough to get into just those growing up, whatever you call it, charts. So I went gold in Australia, and that was quite surprising. But it was just that testament to this is something very new.
Yeah, Superhero is the one song that people don't necessarily know that Dave and I wrote it anymore, but it is the one song where people are like, I remember that song. We did it at summer camp and had a superhero theme, or we did it on Sunday. Like that really is a song that has resonated all across the world, which we never ever could have imagined. And I remember after doing the album, one of our congregation members tapping me on the shoulder and saying, hey, you might not know this, but I used to be the kids pastor 10 years ago for Hillsong Kids. And I was like, oh my goodness, didn't realize, and we got acquainted. And then he said, I just wanted you to know that 10 years ago, our kids team would be on their knees praying for God for praise and worship for our kids. And he was like, our youth ministry have songs, our main church have songs, but we wanted songs written just for our kids that they could sing. And they were like, we couldn't do it, but we were going to believe that God would bring people in the future to write songs for our kids. And so to hear that they had been praying 10 years before, and then people like Dave and I and other people that wrote for our kids album, that we were the answers to their prayer for Hillsong Kids and for prayer, like that just blew my mind. And it just really opened my eyes up to the power of prayer and the power of reaching for the stars and believing and giving things a go and trying. And Superhero really did that for us, especially when it came to us and songwriting and Hillsong Kids and the power of children's ministry and kids worshiping and knowing the things of God.